Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. I don't know why, but some people think, as the voice of truth and reason, that I know a lot of stuff. Why would somebody presume that I have any idea to know when this disaster is going to end? I love this question. Have you ever seen anything like this before? Or keeping it to sports, who are the Browns going to take in the draft? Well, since the Browns employees are working out of their homes, I guess I'll just have to wait until I have dinner tonight at Andrew Barry's house. And if anybody actually knows when this thing is going to end, or if they've ever seen anything like this before, or if they know who the Browns are going to take, I'll just turn over my voice of truth and reason badge to them. We've got Doug-lesmerises. He knows a lot of stuff also. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide studios of More Sports and Les-Levine on a Wednesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into our 24th consecutive season exclusively on cleveland.com. Doug-lesmerises of cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer is with us at a remote outpost somewhere. There he is. Did we wake you? I did. Gotcha. All right, we will do that. Little technical difficulty, which we will resolve momentarily. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. And Doug Lesmerises, cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer is with us. And, of course, the Browns made another deal today. They traded their 7th-round pick in the 2021 draft to the Denver Broncos for Andy-Janovich, who is a fullback. So we'll talk more about that when Doug gets back online. And we'll talk about anything that's on your mind also. Doug, of course, covers Ohio State as well as all of the Cleveland teams, and Ohio State pretty busy also. Let's go back to Doug Lesmerises. There you are. What'd you do? Go hide? Go get a cup of coffee?
I got to the part where you were saying that you don't really know anything, which I agree with.
Yeah.
And then my computer froze and bombed. So my apologies.
That's okay. A lot of people do that when they hear that I don't know anything and I'm still doing this gig here. So don't let anybody know. We're trying to keep a low profile here. We are actually practicing social distancing here tonight, me and you.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm going to actually move back.
more social distancing than even before, more than ever. 216-575-0403. You can email us during the show at reallesLevine@gmail.com. All right, Doug, the Browns busy at the opening bell here. As soon as I love the legal tampering moniker. I think the Houston Astros were thinking they were working under that also, of legal tampering.
Yeah. No, you put the word legal in front of everything, and it sounds fun. Right. Yeah, legal dealing.
Exactly. All right, give me. Browns made 3 moves yesterday. They made another one today, signing Andy-Janovich, a fullback. And yesterday they got the backup quarterback they think they needed, and a couple of an offensive lineman and a tight end. What do you think? I know, A+. I know.
I know, right? I mean, and that's not fair either. And I know we're all there. Things in the off season. Would we rather have them terrible in the off season? Would they rather do we want them to be the Texans trading away DeAndre Hopkins? So, they've got to show it on the field, but I'm all for appreciating smart moves. I do think the idea of using free agency for targeted strikes to fix exact holes on your roster. And then you get to the draft and you gobble up talent, right? And maybe you don't have to be as need-centric in the draft, because you say, hey, we have lousy tackles, let's sign the best tackle. Hey, we want to get Baker-Mayfield a tight end because he likes throwing the tight ends. Let's sign the best tight end. Let's trade for a fullback because Kevin-Stefanski needs a fullback. And the backup quarterback, right? I mean, the backup quarterback is probably, to me, is about the 10th or 12th most important person on your roster, because he's the 30th most important person on your roster right up until he becomes the most important person on your roster. So to me, this is the step a good team makes. The Browns have been swimming in the waters for so long of having no quarterback. When you actually get a quarterback, then what a good team does is get another quarterback, have a backup behind him you can believe in. This is the process of how a good team works.
Okay, I agree totally with that. When you look at it, though, it's almost like when they give you the results of an operation. They underwent a successful operation. Nobody tells you, oh, we had a problem here on the operating table. But it looks that way when trades are made or deals are signed. They all look great in March and April. I can't think of any time where I've ever said, oh, why did they sign that guy?
True. But I also do think, we remember like when Mitchell Schwartz left, right? Nobody was excited about that. Everybody knew that was a mistake in the moment, letting a guy like that go. I think what you can see here, and I've been critical of John Dorsey on this program and at cleveland.com, but Dorsey did something, for instance, fixing the receiver position that had been such a problem in Cleveland for so long. They have a quarterback. They have some things in place so that when they got to this offseason, yeah, you could see where they needed people, but good at receiver, good at quarterback, good on the defensive line, good at cornerback. So then you say, let's narrow the focus a little bit. So John Dorsey got some things wrong. He also filled some holes last offseason that now allowed Andrew Berry to fill up this season. And that, it's two different front offices, but there is a little bit of cohesion here. There's a little bit of roster building rather than just frantically, desperately plugging holes. It does feel a little more like a plan.
Yeah, and a couple of things. Number one, you can't, if you're a team that did what the Browns did last year, you can't fix it all in one draft or one free agent period, or especially when you bring in a new guy to be the coach and general manager. That's number one. Number two, when you look at it, assuming the wide receivers in Landry and Beckham are healthy and come through their surgery okay, if you look at the depth chart on each one, you look pretty good on the offense. In fact, you need some tinkering, but not all that much. The defense, you mentioned the defensive line being pretty good, or at least looking like they're pretty good, but the linebacker situation at this moment scares the heck out of me.
Well, and was deciding what area is going to scare the heck out of you. Because there aren't that many teams that go 1 through 22 and say we're great everywhere. This is clearly a strategy from this front office to say linebacker is basically at the bottom of the list of priorities. And we're going to give Joe Schobert's money to Austin Hooper. We're going to give Christian Kirksey's money to Jack-Conklin. Last year, what scared me in the offseason and going into the season last year? The offensive line.
Yeah.
And the terrible tackles killed their season.
Isn't
it more?
Isn't it interesting how over the years, many years, that linebacker, which was the predominant position on the defense, all of a sudden doesn't seem as important as it used to be, mainly because the offenses have changed and the rules have changed. But, when you had Dick Butkus going in there, you had, all the big, tough, scary guys. They're more finesse guys now, right?
Got to be able to cover. It's great to be good against the run. You've got to be able to play in space. You've got to be able to run to the ball, cover a tight end when needed. And you look right now, we're only talking about 2 linebackers. We're not even talking about 3 linebackers. So, again, this is, a part of the John Dorsey strategy we saw in last year's draft. And, again, I want to give Dorsey credit here for the things he did do well. He drafted Sione Takitaki and Mack Wilson to be the next generation of linebackers.
Yeah.
It's like he drafted Sheldrick Redwine to be the next generation of safety. When you are good, you start drafting to fill the holes, not that you have, but that you are going to have.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly. All right,
we don't know much about Takitaki and Wilson, but maybe they're the answer.
It could be. I was surprised they gave up both guys, though, in Schobert and
Kirksey.
Yeah, and right, Kirksey. I'm surprised they gave up both. I thought they would have kept one.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, I think, and I think people are getting it, but part of the things with analytics is how important positions are and how you allocate your salary cap space by the most important position. And that's just, it's not that they didn't like Joe Schobert. They just didn't like Joe Schobert at the money he got in Jacksonville. And so Andrew Berry talked about this before. I think if Andrew Berry had been here last year, they might have prioritized get Joe Schobert signed then at a little bit lower rate. But once he got to the market, the money he was going to get, they just were not going to pay. So maybe the next guy who comes down the pike in a similar situation, Berry seems very committed to try to get that guy locked up early.
All right, the Browns got a fullback, something that they didn't really have last year. Should help the run game. We'll see if that's the case. Andy-Janovich comes to Cleveland. And why is that important in Stefanski's offense? Let's take a look at running back C.J. Ham and see what he did. First of all, here's Janovich, 26 years old, 4 NFL seasons, and he was third-ranked fullback in the league in 2019, and that by Pro Football Focus. So what happened when he was on the field and C.J. Ham was there? Well, 223 offensive snaps in 2019, 17 receptions, 149 yards, and 1 touchdown, and he made the Pro Bowl in 2019. So at least on paper, it looks like Janovich helped that running game in Denver. So we've got a line open if you'd like to get it, 216-575-0403. Doug Lesmerises is here from cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Did you know that the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in prizes in winnings over the last 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all around the state of Ohio. You can play an Ohio Lottery game, and you can play it today. You can follow us on facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. Well, Doug pointed out some areas of need. Filling in the holes at safety is what we'll talk about when we come back. More Sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Today, the 18th of March, 2020, Frank Gunnar Gatsky, Hall of Famer from the Browns, was born on this date in 1919. Jeff Mullins, Stand Up, 1947. Andre Rison, somewhat responsible for the Browns having to move when Art Modell needed to get a loan at the bank to pay him. J.T. Real Muto, born in 1991, and Emmanuel Clase. We hope to see him back soon. We hope to see baseball back. Clase, of course, the left-handed relief pitcher the Indians got in that deal for Corey Kluber. 216-575-0403. Doug Lesmerises of cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer is with us. Doug, of course, covers Ohio State, and one player that he covered was Malcolm Jenkins, who apparently was targeted by the Browns, but he's going to go back to New Orleans, it appears. And what is it about New Orleans? Why does New Orleans have all the Buckeyes and Cleveland doesn't have any, except Ward?
I don't know. Maybe they're smart. They do have a pipeline there. I mean, it's remarkable, the guys that run through New Orleans. starting with Malcolm Jenkins and defensive backs like Von Bell and Marshawn Lattimore. I don't know if the Browns targeted Malcolm Jenkins. I targeted Malcolm Jenkins before them. I think they could use a veteran safety, a presence in the locker room. So young. A guy like Malcolm Jenkins, he's 32 years old. He's won 2 Super Bowls. I would just like a guy who can still play, but also can do something in the locker room for the Browns. I think Jenkins would have fit that.
Well, he's a 3-time Pro Bowler, 2015, 17, and 18. The average age of the Browns defense now is 24 and a half years. And Olivier Vernon still being shown as a part of the offense, or I'm sorry, of the defense. And why is he? Didn't we just assume he'd be gone?
Well, he's still on the books as their highest paid contract, $6.5 million. The Browns can get off that contract with no cap hit whenever they want to. So, you know, I think they're holding on to him. You want to see what else develops in free agency. My guess, and it's a guess, would be if they feel like there are moves they want to make and they're ready to make them and they need the Vernon money, then maybe you let Vernon go.
Right.
If stuff doesn't develop, then you know what? I mean, he's at a premium position and you pay him 1 more year. But I think there are, if Jenkins, looks like Jenkins is off the board, started in New Orleans, last several years in Philly, now back to New Orleans, there are other safeties the Browns could get.
Yeah, in fact, there should be, I'm told in the second round, there could be 4 or 5 right there that could be guys that the Browns might want. Anthony Harris might be somebody the Browns are interested in. He's played with the Vikings. The Vikings seem to keep their employees around for a long time. He's played 5 seasons there. I'm referring to Stefanski as far as sticking around for a while. Sources say that a 2nd or 3rd round pick could be used to get him. Is that somebody you'd be interested in? As you take a look at Anthony Harris, the Vikings placed the franchise tag on Monday at $11.44 million, and he made 60 tackles last year and league high 6 interceptions, all career highs. Is that somebody you'd be interested in, or you have to give up too much and pay too much?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Les, with that calculation. It's the pick and the price. I think the price. I think this is a position where they can spend it. As we talked about before, they're not going to spend it at linebacker. I think they're going to take a left tackle with their first pick in the 1st round. So they have some money left. Where are you going to spend it? And as we talked about, they're getting okay at a lot of positions. So safety is the place to spend this money. Malcolm Jenkins wouldn't have cost you a pick. I like Eric Reed, who just got let go by Carolina, would not cost you a pick. You know, they need 2 safeties probably, actually, the way things are right now. Sheldrick Redwine is the only safety left in the building. So, you know, if you can sign somebody without giving up a pick, you could sign a safety and then draft a safety in the 2nd round. If you're giving up a pick, that's harder. But the investment at safety, I think that's what they will do and need to do. And if they want to get Harris, get Harris.
Well, you mentioned Eric Reed. He's 6'1", 215, 28 years old, 7 NFL seasons, split between the 49ers and the Panthers. And he had he's had 11 interceptions in 99 career games. He made the Pro Bowl in his rookie season with the 49ers, but that was way back in 2013. So there are possibilities, either trades, drafting, or signing a free agent. It appears that the Browns they're not getting this news last hand. I think they knew about this. They knew what they needed. Whether they can get him or not is a different story. What do you think, just in general? Tom Brady winds up with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Is that something that surprised you? Not that he left New England, but that he wound up with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, we can run down the list, Les, and I mean, I think for people of an older generation, right, everybody references Willie Mays in a Mets uniform and that kind of thing, Joe Namath in a Chargers uniform. The greats who wind up kind of on a weird team at the end of their careers. Tampa's just weird. No offense to Tampa, but I mean, what if he had gone to the LA Chargers, to that market? That would have made more sense to me. If he got to Vegas with Gruden, that would have made a little more sense to me. This feels like he's trying to maybe get back to a Super Bowl, get out of the AFC, get away from Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that does make sense. No question about that. And the weather is always going to be nice down at Tampa, so you don't have to worry about the kinds of weather days that they had with New England. So We'll reestablish our connection with Doug in just a moment. So if you didn't hear the news, Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay for $30 million. One season, $30 million. It's unbelievable. Have your kid grow up to be a sixth-round pick out of Michigan and see if he can duplicate that. We're going to take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. Northeast Factory Direct. We've always talked about the low prices they have. Well, they now have the one-year guarantee. The lowest prices guarantee. If in the next year you buy something at some other place and the price is lower than you would get it at Northeast Factory Direct, they'll refund the difference immediately. And that's the one-year best price guarantee. I've been saying that Northeast Factory prices can't be beat. Now it's guaranteed. If you buy furniture or hot tubs from Northeast within a year, you'll find advertised for less than Alex will refund the difference. No gimmick. There are some terms and conditions, so go to northeastfactorydirect.com for more information. And when you do, and you go to one of their 3 locations, east, west, or to the south, just mention More Sports and Les-Levine. They'll take extra special care of you. We'll take a break. We'll come on back as you see the locations. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
Got your Ohio Lottery pick 3, I see.
Yup. Those glasses are hip.
Hip? Most people think I'm a square. But what's wrong with that? A box bet can increase your chances of winning. And what is a box? A square. There are so many ways to play. There's coming out the wazoo. Oh, shucks. Look at me yammering on. Put a lid in it, Picky Ricky. Play the Ohio Lottery Pick 3 today.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. How come if 2 is company and 3 is a crowd, 4 and 5 are 9? Kids love that one. We should have a kids version of How Come Quickies. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at realleslavine@gmail.com. All right, you should know Baker Mayfield's record and stats by heart by now in his first 2 years. And let's take a look at them and see what will back him up also. There you see Baker Mayfield 2018 and 2019, and 63.8% completions in 18, and then 59.4 in 19. The stats don't look all that bad except for one thing: interceptions and sacks. Not too good. Doug-lesmerises is back with us. Case-Keenum gets picked up by the Browns yesterday, and you talked about it earlier. It's a move that had to be made, but I think everybody understands he's going to be there for Baker Mayfield, and will be ready if there's an injury. But they're not making it a quarterback derby, are they? I would hope not.
No, nobody makes it a quarterback derby in year 3 of a highly picked quarterback. You look at what the Bears are doing right now with Northeast Ohio's Mitch Trubisky, the number 2 pick in the draft the year ahead of Baker. They brought in Nick Foles now as competition. But Trubisky is a year ahead of Baker. You look at what the Titans did, bringing in Ryan Tannehill to compete with Marcus Mariota and then have to take that job. But that was later. That was more like year 4, maybe year 5. It wasn't year 3. Part of the deal with this is when you draft a quarterback number 1, you gain the idea that he knows I'm the guy for an extended period of time. You don't use that certainty to your advantage. You're giving up some of what you get by taking a guy number 1. Baker Mayfield will not be and should not be looking over his shoulder. That would only be a negative. You're all in. When you take a quarterback number 1, you are all in for at least 3 years, at least. So this is not even a discussion, and this is just a good, smart backup to A, help Baker mature as a quarterback, and B, be ready if Baker Mayfield gets hurt. But this is smart planning, but it's the farthest thing from competition because it's not what teams do.
Well, in Keenum's case, he's 32 years old. It seems like, although again, like I said earlier, it seems like every move looks like the right thing in March, but he seems to be the right guy. There are some that you can't easily talk them into being the mentor. You've got a problem that way because everybody thinks, most people think, and Tom Brady's a perfect example, think that they got to drag them out of there to tell them it's time to give it up. But apparently they are convinced because of the relationship that Keenum had with Stefanski. One assumes that Stefanski thinks he can handle it that way and will be good in that position, rather than looking at it the other way as becoming the starter. So it seems to be a good move all the way around. Of course, you had Drew Stanton before, and he was injured. We don't know what his deal was. Here you see Stanton versus Keenum, and games 38 for Stanton, and he started his rookie year back in 2007. Keenum started in 2012, and there you see 52% completions for Stanton, 62 for Keenum, and touchdowns 20 versus 75. So that's an upgrade right there. And if he can handle that, Doug, I think it's a great move.
This is a little counterintuitive, but I think this is how this works. You have to get a franchise quarterback to compete in the NFL, right? You must. But then once you get the franchise quarterback, you build a team around him so that if he gets hurt, you can win without him. Just what the Philadelphia Eagles did with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. Nick Foles was in competition for Carson Wentz, and they handed Carson Wentz that job. They traded Sam Bradford, so there was no doubt about anything. Carson Wentz, you're our guy. But when Carson Wentz got hurt, they had built a full team around him. Nick Foles was competent, and you win the Super Bowl. That's what this is. And then as soon as Carson Wentz was healthy, he was the guy again. So this is smart team building. It's multi-step smart team building. Get the quarterback, build the team, then insure the quarterback position. Case-Keenum is smart insurance.
216-575-0403. Doug Lesmerises here at cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. If you've got some questions for him. I was thinking with all the stuff going around, I'm saying, all right, we don't have baseball right now. Browns have to wait a while. Thank goodness we have Ohio State. And then you realize, wait a minute, there's no guarantee Ohio State's going to be playing anytime soon either. But they continue to build up that recruiting class. What do you think of mostly the defensive backs that they just got in the last couple of days?
Well, it's been pretty remarkable just understanding how the whole sports world and the whole world has come almost to a standstill. And Ohio State got 4 recruiting commitments in 3 days in the midst of all of this stuff. And so what happened is the NCAA sort of put a moratorium. They call it a dead period. They changed the recruiting calendar because of what's happening in the world. They made this a dead period, which means no in-person contact. But Ohio State can still receive calls from prospects. They can still text them and stuff like that. And so they sort of use their presence on social media and the momentum of the guys they already had in the class. They had 10 guys in the class previously, and they got these 4 guys in a short period of time. You mentioned cornerback. This is Kerry Combs, back at Ohio State as the defensive coordinator. He was the cornerback coach who created this NFL pipeline. We mentioned some of these guys, Marshawn Lattimore, Denzel Ward, Eli Apple, Bradley Roby. guys who have been moving through Ohio State to the NFL. Holmes was gone for 2 years with the Tennessee Titans. He's back with a big promotion, a big salary raise, and he got right on the recruiting trail. They've had some recent misses in the defensive back recruiting. They had a kid flip last year. They had misses the year before. They needed to shore up their cornerback. And even in this weird time in sports, no other team in the country has gotten more than, no Power 5 team has gotten more than one commit in this time period. Things went crazy. Ohio State has 4, and it's led by Kerry Combs.
All right, we'll talk more about that when we get back with Doug Lesmerises. You can explore your interests, find a program that puts you on a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. We'll come back in a moment. We'll talk about Buckeye recruiting and much more. We'll get to your phone calls. More Sports and Les-levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohio-lottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
This date in sports history, March 18th, 1872, Lord Stanley donates his cup to the hockey team with the best record. Sorry about that. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Doug Lesmerises here covers Ohio State, and you got a smirk on your face. You must have heard our question, or this date in history. No comment.
How can I not donate his cup? That's good stuff.
Sometimes you do what you got to do. We mentioned before the break, Ohio State with 4 commitments. Again, only 1 from Ohio. Is that correct? Out of the 4?
Yeah. They are got 1 from North Carolina, 1 from Tennessee, 1 from St. Louis. They have hotbeds. They go into areas of the country where the home state football program is down. So they've been very busy in St. Louis the past several years, because if you're a great player in St. Louis, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go to stick around their home? You're going to go to Mizzou? You're going to go to Illinois?
No.
You're going to go to Ohio State. So this is about the 5th kid they've pulled out of St. Louis in the last 4 years. Jacqueline Johnson, a top 100 recruit at cornerback. And this is Ohio State is just tremendously strategic about its recruiting. So you wonder, how do they go get Jacqueline Johnson? It's because they're in Louis all the time. So Kerry Combs, when he got hired in January, went down, was in St. Louis immediately, meeting with this kid, and he's exactly the kind of guy they need to shore up the cornerback.
Well, sometimes it's tough to adjust and see what high school stats are versus what they'll be at the Division I. But Jacqueline Johnson was a 4-star recruit, number 4 ranked cornerback in his class. 42 tackles, 7 interceptions, and 1 defensive touchdown in 2019. Let's go over to Andre Turrentine. And Andre, also a 4-star recruit, and he's from Ellsworth High School in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't recall too many Tennessee guys playing for Ohio State. Do you, Doug, offhand?
No, there's not a million of them. Tennessee has not been winning lately, but they've been actually doing a pretty decent job at keeping Tennessee kids home. Andre Turrentine had Ohio State and 3 SEC schools in his top 4. He picked Ohio State. So everybody's always very interested about Ohio State competing with the SEC. They beat the SEC for a big-time kid from SEC country in this recruiting battle.
Let's take a look at Devontae Smith. And Devontae Smith, a 3-star recruit, number 32 ranked cornerback in the country in his class, 72 tackles in 2019, 6 touchdowns as a wide receiver. Wonder if they'll use him both. What do you think? Maybe both-way guy? I mean, both ways?
5. Oh, sorry. I'll say this, Les. When I started covering Ohio State in 2005, there was a lot of talk about Ohio State having trouble recruiting in Cincinnati. Kerry Combs was a super successful high school coach in Cincinnati before he became a college coach. Ohio State pulls kids out of Cincinnati all the time now. Smith is just the latest example of that. He's not as highly rated as some of these guys, but some people think he's going to rise up the board. Good speed, more of maybe a developmental project, but it's a reminder that Ohio State recruits all of Ohio now when once upon a time Cincinnati was an issue for them.
It is amazing. Cleveland supplied Ohio State for quite some time, and not Cincinnati, but this could change it around. How about Evan Pryor, another one of the 4 recruits, number 6th ranked running back in his class. Excuse me, 5'10", 190, 4-star recruit, 393 carries and 24 touchdowns in his last 3 seasons. You would think Ohio State would not have trouble recruiting a running back because of the success they've had and the fact that despite the amount of running backs, they go with 1 starter and don't go too deep in the depth chart. What do you think about this recruit, Evan Pryor?
Huge. This was their number 1 position of need in this class. In last year's class at the running back position, they went after some really highly rated 5-star kids, missed on them, ended up flipping an in-state kid late who had been an Iowa State commit. That was never their plan. They haven't really had an impact running back come to the recruiting pipeline, J.K. Dobbins in 2017. So they knew they needed a big-time running back in this class, and Pryor is that. They're still looking at other guys. They might end up with 2 big-time running backs in this class. But it was such a desperate need to lock Evan Pryor down this early, a North Carolina kid. Mac Brown at North Carolina now is revitalizing North Carolina recruiting. Georgia was interested in this guy. So, again, Ohio State's had some success in North Carolina before, but you never take for granted pulling a kid out of the South rated this high.
You know, when the playoffs took place, you saw Urban Meyer. You saw him on the sidelines here. How is he still active, or is he? Did they say you're okay to hang around through the end of last year? Let's move on to Ryan Day. What are they doing down there?
I feel like the shadow of Urban Meyer is kind of gone now. I think it was there for Ryan Day's first year, but when in your first year you have an undefeated regular season and you make the playoff,
right?
Again, the structures that Urban Meyer left are still in place, but I think this is Ryan Day's program now. He doesn't need the specter of Urban Meyer there to close recruits, anything like that. Ryan Day's the guy.
He's a quick learner, Ryan Day.
For it. Quicker learner than I am.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Doug-lesmerises, cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer is with us. Northeast Factory Direct, East, West, and South. They have great furniture. It's they're known because their prices are lower than anywhere else, but that doesn't mean it's cheap stuff. Northeast Factory Direct carries high-quality name-brand furniture like Flex Steel, England, Klausner, and much more. They also have a couple of nice lines of custom furniture, and they have Amish furniture, too, made right here in Northeast Ohio. You don't get better quality than that, and it costs so much less at Northeast, 50, 60, 70% off of what you'll pay in the big box stores. Sokolowski's University Inn, well, we know all about the ban of the restaurants and all, but you can take orders to go. They've got the family pack ready to go. Stop in, check it out on the website, and you can order over the phone, or you can just pop in at Sokolowski's University Inn. These are great people. great restaurant. They deserve to be supported in times of need, and you're not going to get many more times of need than this. But they're there to serve you just as they have since 1923. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the Facebook question of the day. More Sports and Les-Levine continues with Doug Lesmerises exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Your concrete is cracked, uneven, and not safe. Paints and poly coatings don't last, are slippery, and give worthless warranties. Nature Stone permanently corrects cracked, uneven concrete, eliminates slipping hazards, and is easy to clean. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of March. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine history, March 18th, 2020. That would be today. Les suggests that March Madness should no longer refer to the NCAA college basketball tournament. If this isn't March Madness, I don't know what it is. 216-575-0403 is the number. The D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, will join us tomorrow night. And right with us tonight is Doug Lesmerises. Doug, there still are, let me just turn back to the Browns and free agency situation. There are a couple of names that might be of interest. You tell me, as we mention them and take a look at the graphics, you tell me if it's anybody you'd like to explore further. Adrian Phillips, let's take a look at him and see. He played all with the Chargers in his 6 NFL seasons. He's a safety, 5'11", 210 pounds, missed 9 games with a broken arm last season. And in 64 career games, 251 tackles and 5 interceptions. Any interest in this guy, Adrian Phillips?
I don't really know who this is, but I will say yes. It depends how you want to spend money. You're going to get a safety. It depends how much you want to spend. I just do think this could be an area where you pony up some dough to get a guy in the back end who really is a leader of the defense. But I'll pick anybody.
Just for laughs, would you go for Ha-Ha Clinton Dix? That's too easy.
Yeah, no, Ha-Ha Clinton Dix is good. I mean, the one thing is, and some people are against this team is so young, and you guys do a good job with the back and core of the average age of the defense is so young. It's okay to have an old guy or two. So Malcolm Jenkins, the mentioned Ha-Ha Clinton Dix, fits right in. But again, I would not be afraid to pay an older safety, expecting that he would help you on the field and off.
Ha-Ha Clinton Dix has not missed a game in his NFL career, spanning 6 NFL seasons. Let's take a look at Drake Campbell, see what's up with him. He's a linebacker, 6'4", 232, 26 years old, 4 NFL seasons, all with the Falcons, 5.5 sacks in 59 career games. Here's a linebacker, maybe somebody that the Browns are interested in, because based on what they have left over from last year, that certainly seems to be a need.
I will say, I think in general, Les, I'm a little less concerned at linebacker than you are. I would not be freaked out to have to go into the camp with expecting that Mack Wilson and Sione Takitaki would be the starters. Certainly you want some depth behind them, maybe some competition. But if you don't sign a frontline linebacker, I'll live with it.
Two more to look at. One would be Josh Bynes. And Josh Bynes, a linebacker, and played with the Lions, the Cardinals, and the Ravens in his 9 NFL seasons. 4 interceptions and 3 forced fumbles in 101 career games. What do you think? Coming off of Ravens here.
This is you're getting into a little bit of guy like this. Experience with the Ravens, 30 years old. I'm just interested in that. I'm interested in somebody on that side of the ball who knows how to win and knows how to lead.
One more that's a pretty big name here, and that would be Jason Peters. Jason Peters, an offensive tackle, 16 NFL seasons, 9-time Pro Bowler, 10 penalties, 3 sacks allowed in 872 snaps last season, and he's primarily played on the left tackle side, which is the position of need for the Browns. The age scares me a little bit. How about you?
This is one of those things where I made the pledge a while ago that if Isaiah Simmons is there in the draft for the Browns at 10, I'll give $100 to Dave Bacon's favorite charity. Listen, this is the kind of thing, if you sign another tackle, it opens up your spot of the 10th pick in the draft, right? If you don't solve the other tackle spot in free agency, I don't see how you can avoid picking a tackle at number 10. But if Jason Peters allows you to take a great defensive player at 10, now you're talking about roster building. And I know he's not a long-term answer, but you can delay that. You cannot delay having a left tackle answer this year. So if you don't sign another big-time tackle, you've got to draft one. Jason Peters would open up your draft possibilities a little bit.
Yeah, well, maybe there might be somebody else like him also. That if the 38 years old doesn't scare you, maybe there's somebody else that you can pop into that position and then as you suggest, then load up somewhere else.
Joe Thomas, you trying to get Joe Thomas out of retirement?
No, I don't think so. 216-575-0403. We had a Facebook question that we asked, and we had you respond to it. We've been talking about it all night. Who of the remaining free agents would you like to see the Browns sign? Aaron Wood starts it off, and he says Malcolm Jenkins from the Eagles. Glenn Berger, the Browns still need help at the safety position. A couple of new safeties would be perfect. Kevin Malone says we need safeties, plural. Gerard Morelli, a cornerback. Dennis Davis, I'm thrilled with who they signed. Nothing further needed. Now it's on to the draft. I don't know that nothing further is needed applies here, but it's interesting. The last 3 or 4 days on our Facebook question of the day, they've almost been unanimous as to whatever their answers are. What one person thinks, apparently that's the common thread between our audience, because they're all looking for defense. Nobody looking for any offense right there. So we'll have another question for you tomorrow. The D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, will join us. You see us from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time live, and then, of course, you can archive us the rest of the day. We also have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. If you can't reach us between 6 and 7, other 23 hours of the day, you can call anytime. Leave us a message. We'll use the best messages in a future show. Doug Lesmerises is with us. He's coming back one more time. More Sports and Les-levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Your concrete is cracked, uneven, and not safe. Paints and poly coatings don't last, are slippery, and give worthless warranties. Nature Stone permanently corrects cracked, uneven concrete, eliminates slipping hazards, and is easy to clean. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of March. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery, partners in education, where stars shine.
Well, as I mentioned, the D-Man Dennis Maniloff will join us, and you see us from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and of course you can archive us all day, all night. Go back, find some previous shows, some Truths and Reason, and all that right here on cleveland.com. Time for some How Come Quickies. Doug, you ready for some quickies? Are you ready for How Come Quickies?
Les, I dream of How Come Quickies. I wake up in the morning pleading for How Come Quickies. I'm always ready.
You know, sometimes they're either so clever that I can't understand them, or they're just bad. So I'm going to leave this one out, despite the fact we got it from California. We're going to pass on that. This from Big Ed. How come when I called the tinnitus hotline, nobody answered, it just
That's a 9.
kept ringing? That's a 9. Wow.
When my grandma was in the hospital one time, they said, "Do you have any hearing problems?" He said, "What?" So I appreciate that.
Nice, nice. This one from Big Ed. The second one from Big Ed. How come the headline read, "Police Department toilet is stolen, we have nothing to go on"?
I'm actually laughing.
That's a real laugh.
9.3.
We had one. We're on a roll here. My crack staff came up with one last night. How come if the number 2 pencil is the best one on the market, how come it's still number 2?
Wow.
Yeah, it should be 1 by now. Yeah, that is deep. Yeah. All right, we'll get the let out on that. Mr. Gullible writes in, how come I'm on a whiskey diet and I've already lost 3 days? That's a pretty good batch here tonight.
Yeah,
Now this is, I believe this is a W.C. Fields line. How come it's better to have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy? I think that's, yeah, that's got to be W.C. Fields. John Patrick. How come I take a nap because I can't sleep at night, and I can't sleep at night because I take a nap?
That's called old age, brother. I'm with you.
Yeah, you get up every once in a while and say, is this a nap that I just took, or was this the whole thing for the real night? Yeah. I don't know. All right, you got closing thoughts here? We got a couple of minutes to just chat.
I wanted to bring this up because it did come up earlier.
Yeah.
The position we did not talk about with the Browns, which is super important, is that nickel cornerback position, that slot corner that T.J. Carey played a year ago. That is a starting position in the NFL now. We're talking about you don't play 3 linebackers, but you do play 3 corners. Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, and Terrence Mitchell can man the outside. Not having T.J. Carey back, they don't have an answer. So that is something they must address. There are some guys out there in free agency. I would rather have them address that in free agency than try to find that in the draft. But that is so crucial as, again, they piece this defense together. It seems like if they keep Olivier Vernon, they're okay in the front 4. They're young at linebacker, but they haven't prioritized that. But you really got to find the inside corner who can cover slot receivers. We know that's a game-breaking type of position. You cannot have a hole that's prior. You
sort of intimated about piecework or patchwork, and at linebackers, what's more important, the getting together as a quote a team in the linebacker spot, or do you think that backfield is more important? Because you can't just throw names out there, even though they look good, resumes are good. There's got to be some camaraderie between, as far as the on the field is concerned. So how much do you give to that, or do you think if they're good, they'll figure it out in a couple of weeks?
Well, I mean, this is the great debate from last season, Les, that everybody engaged in. And I was not as worried about that as I should have been. And other people were more worried that maybe last year it was more of a collection of talent than a team. So they've got it. They've got to figure that out. It can't just be free agent of the week. You know, it's not about building an all-star team. It's about building a winning team. So that's why I'm talking so much to me with what they're going to get in the defensive backfield, where they're going to spend money. One of those guys has to be a guy who can bring a locker room together, who can lead a defense. That's why I love Malcolm Jenkins. It's not going to be Malcolm Jenkins. It should be a guy like that. not just a great player, but somebody who will help this defense and help this whole group be a team.
Hey, do you have any doubts that Joe Burrow will be the #1 pick, or do you think maybe Cincinnati might play around with it?
No, I don't have any doubts about that. I think Joe Burrow is the real deal. I think you look across the league and you see the opportunities that a great young quarterback presents the franchise. I think there's a no-brainer draft spot for them. I think the question is at number 2, whether the Washington Redskins decide that Tua Tagovailoa is the guy that they pull what the Cardinals did before, and you take Josh Rosen, you say, too bad, we're taking Kyler Murray. They took Dwayne Haskins. Well, they say, too bad, we're going to pass on Chase Young and draft Tua, but the Bengals are taking Burrow 1, and he's going to be good.
You think Andy Dalton will be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots this year?
Boy, oh boy, didn't a lot of people think Dalton might wind up with the Bears challenging Mitch Trubisky? Instead, it's Nick Foles. You watch these quarterbacks, different spots fall into place, and every move affects every other move. You wonder where Jameis Winston's going to wind up now that Tom Brady is in Tampa. It depends what Bill Belichick wants to do. Andy Dalton, known quantity, not a huge ceiling. But what if Bill Belichick decides maybe I can make something more of Jameis Winston than he's been so far? I'll be very curious to see whether Belichick goes safe route or a little bit riskier with the guy who maybe needs to change the scenery and is more boom or bust, and Jameis would fit that.
All right. Who has a better year, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady?
My guess is that they both miss each other a lot. And, I mean, I guess that's the sign of a good partnership, right? That you miss each other equally when you're gone. But for Bill Belichick to live in the world, we know when Brady got hurt and they went sick with Matt Castle that year, Belichick is a great coach, not just because of Tom Brady. But it depends who he gets in there. I would make if Belichick gets a guy like Dalton or Winston or somebody who's been a starter before, I might give Belichick and the Patriots a better chance to have success this season than Brady and Tampa, because, you know, I would have, who was more important of that partnership? I would pick Brady because the way the league works and you lock down quarterback. I think Tom Brady also is going to find out what it's like to be on a normal team in the NFL and not one run by a genius.
See how the other half lives. All right, one quick question. I hate to put this moniker on you here, but you're going to be the commissioner of baseball for one question, okay? Although you have to do better than Madfred's done so far. But what's the minimum games that they'd have to play to make a season out of it?
80, 81, half the year. You know, if it's an idea where, hey, you can't start till August, then I think maybe you just say, we'll take the year off and come back and see you again. I think if you can maybe get 80 games in, that's the whole thing. As you said, Les, everything is unprecedented right now. So some of this, I think a lot of things we're all doing right now, we're not just doing for ourselves, we're doing for each other and we're doing for the country. And who knows, if we get to a point where the option is a 40-game baseball season or no baseball season, and it's safe and people need normalcy again, then maybe you give them a 40-game baseball season because that's what the country needs.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about it that way, but I like it. But for people, I don't know if you heard my commentary at the beginning where people are saying, well, when will this thing end? If I knew, I wouldn't be sitting here.
I think the test for a lot of average Americans and a lot of people watching a show like this is whether we're going to have football or not.
Yeah.
If this takes football away in the fall, football is maybe the number one social activity in this country that brings people together. And so if we're at the point where you can't have that, because look how much we're talking about football moves right now.
In March.
That would be a real harsh dose of reality, and I think people will be holding on for a long time, not wanting to lose football, but I think that's going to be a big test.
Yeah. All right, Doug, thanks for joining us. Stay safe out there, you and your family, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks to you, Les, and all the crew there, and everybody still going to work and doing a great job.
Excellent. Thanks. Doug-lesmerises, cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer. We thank him very much for taking time out of his day. We'll see you tomorrow. Dennis Maniloff will join us. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.